Jovi and Richie Sambora.
And this Monday, we're going to be sitting around the couch with Emma Freud on BBC Radio 1.
It's not a couch. Do we do one more? This is...
Hi, this is John Bon Jovi.
And Richie Sambora.
And this Monday, we're going to be hanging out with Emma Freud in your living room on BBC 1.
It's radio. BBC One's TV station.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Hi, this is John Bon Jovi.
And Richie Sambora.
And this Monday, we're going to be hanging out in your living room. That's right, on Emma Freud's BBC Radio 1.
It's not my station.
Already.
Agreed to give one interview while they're on a lightning trip through Britain, and one interview only. And hey, guess who got it? I did. John, when the fame first happened, did it take you by surprise, or did you always know that you would be huge?
First couple records were easy. It was great. You know, you come over here, you support somebody, or you play a real small theater, like the Dominion was a concert venue 10 years ago, those kind of things. We had a nice living going, and because we got to come to places like England and get out of New Jersey, we still all had to live with our parents and girlfriends or whoever would support us, because even though we had 2 records, we had no money. But
must have been difficult for Richie, not having any girlfriends.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I had enough girlfriends. I just didn't have a lot of money.
So then he became...
We would charge him food to get in to see John. That's how I got most of my food.
That's true. That used to happen.
Girls would come and I'd go, "This is Jordan." I would go, "Yeah, he's here, but what do you got?" "What are you talking about?" "We're hungry. Go get a pizza and some wine. I'll let you back in." Close the door.
True.
And I'd come back with a pizza and wine, and I'd let him in.
It's called pimping, Richie.
I was a pimp.
Just as you know.
A proper pimp I was, though.
Gladys Knight and the Pimps. I always wanted to be a pimp.
I was a pimp.
Carry on, John. You're being very eloquent.
But then a phenomenon happens called slippery when wet, and the point is that nothing can prepare you for that. You just go, strap in, we're going around. You know?
What did it feel like?
I tell you the truth, it was unbelievable, but in the same sense, you had blinders on and didn't realize it. When you're so in it, you don't know what it is. Because a lot of it shoots by you.
Did you remember to enjoy it while it was happening in those early days?
It came as a warning.
What?
By both Brian May and Elton John. They were in our dressing room one night at Wembley and said, sort of like grabbed me and said, "Listen, you better pay attention to this, you know." And coming from Brian, I understood, because he couldn't tour anymore at that point, you know. Queen wasn't touring anymore. And it really struck me up, because it took a while for that statement to really settle in, but when I realized it, I thought, absolutely right, it's time to enjoy this a little bit. Those very wise words from an experienced friend.
When the first big check came in, what was the first thing you bought?
Dancing lessons. So I could do the dance of joy around the house.
I bought my mama a Lincoln Continental.
Because he's a pimp.
I bought my mother a car.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. That's what I did the first check. It was like between the American tour and going to Japan. And in that one day, I also got
John,
called.
are you whistling?
Oh, I am.
Could you just be
Sorry
quiet?
about that.
Richie's talking. Thank you. Sorry, carry on, Richie.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Carry on.
Yeah, so I bought my mother a car, and I had one day in between a 9-month tour of America and whizzing off to Japan. And I walked into a car ship dealer and just kind of put the check and said, "Brought it home," and drove it in the driveway. Said, "Mom, this is yours. Thanks for doing my laundry all these years." And answering the phone calls, and went off to Japan.
In those early days, did you ever get the feeling of soon we're going to be found out? Someone's going to realize we're just some guys playing guitars.
Oh, you think that all the time?
Still?
You know? Probably, to some extent now. Yeah. I think that fear is what fuels the next great song. You know, ultimately, because you don't get too comfortable in those shoes. Because there's always a kid home in his garage, and you go, "Oh man, they're going to find out. I know." And yeah, I think that to some great extent that fuels you. Yeah.
Do you still feel that, Richie?
Absolutely. I think it's a necessary neurosis, actually. You know, I think it's a necessary neurosis to not think you're ever going to be good enough. You have to keep on striving to evolve and to get better. I think that's what we do. That's what we share. I mean, there's always a constant evolution in Bon Jovi records, you know. If you listen from Fahrenheit to Slippery, and then from New Jersey to our solo records, then to Keep the Faith, there's always been a constant striving to evolve musically on those records. So I think that comes from that necessary neurosis.
John, we're still here. Can you pay attention?
I didn't know there was going to be a quiz.
This is the place.
Richie from Bon Jovi. When you first started recording all those years ago, you were penniless, angry young rebels in a way. Now that you're happy, rich, older men, how does your music keep its edge? Are you still able to write in the same way?
Yeah, well, why can't you still write great songs? You know, I mean, we didn't write songs about things that we didn't experience, you know, so if you wrote a song about a life experience when you were 20 years old, when you start out, you write about the high school prom or what have you, but by the time you're 32, you can't write about the high school prom anymore. You know, you write about how you're feeling and what's happening in your world today. And I think as long as you're writing quality songs, it doesn't have to be about, man, it's tough paying the rent. That'd be really hypocritical. You know, I mean, I wouldn't write those kind of songs.
And yet there is still an element of anger in your music.
Not anger, I don't think, as much as I think. No, I think the songs are really optimistic, and that there's always the sunshine beyond the clouds kind of an attitude, because we were, I think, in a way, so naive that you believe that you can achieve the pot of gold, you know, achieve greatness or grab the pot of gold, however you want to look at it. And being that naive is probably what gets you there, because if you believed for a minute, man, the odds are insurmountable, chances are you wouldn't get there.
I was very surprised, and I think a lot of people who follow your music were very surprised a number of years ago when your manager was busted for smuggling or being involved in a smuggle of 20 tons of marijuana into America.
Yeah,
and
so were we.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. Who?
I don't know him.
Him?
Son of a bitch.
What you doing, my watch? Give me that bag, man.
Yeah.
Now what
surprised me?
What surprised me was that a lot of bands wouldn't have stood by him, and yet you all did.
Yeah, we were very loyal.
Why?
Well, loyalty is a wonderful virtue to have, and I think it's pretty hard to get into the inner circle of a band like this. But once you're in forever until you're out.
Until proven guilty.
Right. Oh, well, until that other number is longer than your zip code, right? You stand there with that plate in front of your face. You look like OJ, you know? All right, so the guy's a drug dealer. Does that make him a bad guy? Jeez.
Yeah, come on.
John, are you yawning?
Yeah. Boy, I'm yawning, I'm whispering, I'm like, yeah, I'm breathing, my heart's beating. Can you believe it? I'm well-structured, too.
And he's well-structured.
I don't want to know about this.
Okay, you do.
I'm not interested.
Oh, she likes Shaq better.
You got a lot of press in the early days for inviting fans endlessly into your studios when you were recording and asking them to judge the music. Do you still do that?
Occasionally, you ask people in to hear stuff. I think that was really blown out of proportion. It made it sound as though we had these, like, focus groups or something like that. There was this pizza joint around the block from this demo studio. It wasn't much bigger than this room, to be honest with you. And there was a pizza place we used to go in, and it was for the demos of the Slippery album. And there was, I don't know, half a dozen, 10 kids, whatever. And you said, well, you want to come over and hear this stuff? And that got blown out of proportion. It sounds as though we had all these people deciding yay or nay on which songs. But you got their opinions of things, and sometimes they're different than yours, which make it somewhat exciting to think that, wow, you know, this appeals to these people. That's interesting. I wonder why. You know, because there's another song you wrote about, you know, your pet dog or something that people don't understand and don't relate to, and you go, oh, right, they don't know Fido.
So basically, we just asked these frothing pizza pie loving youths into the studio to check it out.
Yeah.